running? Oh, yes, very loud. So thank you for attending this evening to the last presentation today about 5G Croco. I will present you the results of the first round we have done this year and last year on a cross-border context. And because we are in Luxembourg, emphasis on Luxembourg, Germany, and France. I'm Fabien Coulet from the HTW Saar. This is the University of Applied Sciences in Saarbrücken. And I am in the ITS research group. This is a research group in charge of intelligent transport system. So 5G Croco is part of Horizon 2020. So it's a European funded project, and it's dealing about cooperative, connected and autonomous mobility, CAM, in a 5G context. So as you can see, there are many partners around Europe involved in this research project. Let's start first with Luxembourg. Post is a major actor and SEC Consult for security. France is involved with historical operator Orange and the main car manufacturers, motorway operators, and academics. The project is piloted, I would say, in Catalonia in Spain by CTTC. We can see some company like Word Sensing, I2CAT, Mobile World Capicato. Italia is also represented with Nextworks. Greece with the University of Athena, Sweden with Volvo and Ericsson, and Germany with Deutsche Telekom, Huawei, Volkswagen, Bosch, Ericsson, again Nokia, TUM, Fortis, and HTW. So here is a sum up also of what I have described. So it's, as I said, it's coordinated by CTTC in Barcelona, 24 partners, 7 European countries. The total project budget is around 17 million euro. The European Commission contribution is about 13 million. The project should have lasted 36 months. So we should come to the end of the project, but the project has been made longer because of COVID. So we have a prolongation until June 2022. So this project is dealing with CCAM, so connected, cooperative, automated mobility, represented by 3 chosen use cases. The first one is teleoperated driving. Second one is high-definition map generation and distribution, called HD mapping. And 3, we have ACCA. This is the anticipated cooperative collision avoidance. To trial those use cases, there were large-scale, there is large-scale test field and small scales. We are hosting here in the great region, Luxembourg, Saarland, France. We have this motorway where 5G should be tested. This is a Merzig-Luxembourg test area, but also some pre-test has been done, for instance, in France, in Montlhéry, in Munich, on the motorway A9, and in Barcelona. The idea is to start small to get to a big test trail. So this is a motivation for the small-scale pilots, as I said, integration before large scale, so that the researcher can trial and see what they can improve before going to the large scale. Small presentation of the use cases, HD mapping for automated mobility. In the future, it will be very important to have high-definition maps, which are quite heavy, with lots of data to be exchanged. This is the use case, which is, I would say, stressing the network in the downlink. And of course, 5G Croco is about cross-border. We have to demonstrate that it works in a seamless continuity when crossing the borders. So we have a small ID here with two MNOs, MNO1 and 2. It represents the two countries. And the aim is to permit, for instance, to a car which is in a foreign country to give a modification to a map that can be used from another country at the border, here, for instance, in Schengen. So a small presentation of ACCA. So here we have this kind of road, but it can be also up when you're up a hill or when the visibility is bad, that cars can communicate with each other, and that they start to brake and reduce their speed, or to give information about. It doesn't work. No, doesn't work. That the car, in that case, the car A1, could detect a broken down vehicle or the end of a traffic jam and inform the other cars. In that case, we can see also that to reduce the latency and have a very fast reaction, in that case, mobile edge computer are used in that case, MEC, as we can see. So we have also the use case ToD, it's teleoperated driving. For automated mobility in the future, we know that robots, in that case, cannot deal in any situation. So we know that they'll get stuck in some situation, and then human have to help them to deal with a situation they cannot cope with. And in that case, the car would be controlled by a teleoperated operator in a control center. So this use case, for instance, is stressing the network in the uplink, because you need lots of upstream videos. So here it was our schedule to see, to explain, because I will more speak about the first round. So Croco is divided in 2 rounds. to have the possibility to improve what has been developed in the first round and make it better for the second round. So it's just for information. So, and here, very important in the corridor where we are working between Schengen and Perl on Forbach on Saarbrücken, we have several different schedules. So here we have, so we can see the corridor in the Luxembourg region near Remmerchen and Schengen. So we have we can see the different base station which has been installed into the Post Luxembourg network and installed by Ericsson. So the equipment is provided by Ericsson. There is a total number of 5 sites working on 3.5 gigahertz 5G band and using 4G as an anchor cell at 700 megahertz. That give us bandwidth of 50 megahertz for 5G and 10 megahertz for 4G. It's a non-standalone, so it's NSA constellation configuration with TDD. So it's planned also to have a cell in Germany, looking in front of Schengen. So this cell is not yet installed, but should work also at, in that case, 3.6, but it's also 3.5 gigahertz. And the anchor cell is thought to work at 1.8 gigahertz and providing something like 40 megahertz bandwidth. Here I can present the architecture which has been used here in the border region between at Schengen, because we couldn't have the German network running at the beginning. We were working with 2 base stations, one we called Remmerchen Pop, and the other one Remmerchen Tunnel. We configured them as if the 2 cells were in 2 different countries. So we can see in the architecture of the network. So when we are, I will try to use maybe like that. So starting from the car, so we have a very normal network with baseband units and towers. But what is changing is when we get upper in the architecture. So, well, in that case, we use also this mobile edge computer to reduce the latency and to enhance the throughput. But to enable those cross-border function, the control plane with the S10 and S6A interface had to be enhanced for 5G Croco. And this core control plane was installed in Aachen, in Germany. The backend here was in Luxembourg at the post in Luxembourg City, and we see here the end of the network near to the road. So here we can see it as a as a map the two cells that we were using, and to demonstrate that everything was going right, and to enhance. It was an iterative, long process we had as HTW to drive between Schengen and Remachen many times. So we came one day and started with a new configuration, maybe drove something like 50 times between the two villages, and gave some results and dump files, and it was with Ericsson, for instance, they tried to make everything better, and at the end it worked. It started with it's maybe nice to have some pictures. We had lots of static tests because before driving we had to spend a lot of time not moving. This is something we have to deal with, and so first having all the configuration done at the foot of the antenna. This picture has been taken in Remachen in the village, and we spend lots of time on this. Here we can see the different antennas we were using, several GPS antennas, and 4 5G antennas. So here is it's about, yes, it's a sum up of what I have been saying, that we were wanting to use the motorway. We used the motorway at the beginning over the Moselle River, but because we didn't have the German network, it was not useful at the beginning. And that's why we decided to go over the rural route. Here is an example of a measurement that we were doing. So this it can be it has to be read. So in the x-axis we have the time. So this is everything we recorded with the throughput. So at the beginning of the road, so you have to imagine that we were driving from Remachen village, from Schengen, from the tunnel cell to Remachen pop. And so on the upper part it's the home, and the under is the visited. So it's as if we would cross a border. So in that area is where in fact the handover is happening. And as we can see, the throughput, even if we had an handover between two MNOs, so two countries, two operators, the throughput just went a little bit down with 100 megabit per second, and we repeated it many times. In the actual situation, when you are crossing a border, you can have something like 2 or 3 minutes of, I would say, bad quality. So the handover, you stay in the home network until the communication break, and it results in a bad quality of service in this area. And with the solution we were trialing there, you can see in this plot that the service continuity was assured. So we started with HD mapping. So this is as a simple use case to have as a proof that the network could work with the other use cases. So here is the example of teleoperated driving. So we had several trials. First, it has been done between the University of Munich, TUM, and Stuttgart at Bosch. So that was, I would say, the small-scale trial. And when everything was working well, we tried this in Remmerchen. It was controlled over Munich. It was a long work until it works, and you can see with pictures. It was along the. We did first some tests on the motorway. So we have chosen an helicopter landing place for rescue that was well suitable because near to the 5G antenna and providing high security because the area was fenced. We didn't want that something happens when the car was teleoperated, and we can see the premises at Post in Luxembourg City, where for instance we can see in the, I don't know if you hear me well, in the background there is the mobile edge computer. It's a kind of server providing high speed and also low latency in the core network. So on the left-hand side, that was a test as a user, and in the right-hand side, we could prove in the back end that everything was working well, and then we could bring the teleoperated car on the helicopter landing place, and you can see the vehicle control center in Munich where the car has been driven. So it worked very good. So similar story on the French-German border. So a similar network has been set up near Saarbrücken on the border. Here we can see it's Goldene Brem in Saarbrücken fallback area. So this is the network operated by Orange. It's very similar to what has been installed in Luxembourg, but the Post network was the first to be installed. Same scenario, we should have a German cell looking to the French side, but it's not installed at the moment. So we have here, we can see a little bit of the architecture installed in fallback. So this is the network is a little bit different than the one installed in Luxembourg, because the BBUs, the basement units, are centralized in the data center, and they do they have optical links to the base stations. So this is a small, I would say, difference to Luxembourg, to the Luxembourg 5G test network. But they had more time to set it up because it came later. So similar scenarios as we have shown for Luxembourg. We took the motorway. In fact, it's the A320, which is connecting Saarbrücken to Metz. And we were also trialing to see the continuity in the network. But in that case, we didn't use the cross-border features, which were only set up in Luxembourg so far. So we have also, and we can see also a small road, which is a rural road in Spichern, which was used for ACCA, so anticipated collision avoidance. And the first picture on the left shows the baseband units and the MEC computer installed in the Orange network. And our work as HTW was again to first to pre-test everything, to see if we had a good network, good features, and if it was, I have made a small picture of the simulation. If the simulation was mirroring what we see in the field, which wasn't always the case. So when everything was okay, here we can see that was preparation. All the cars are equipped with 5G modems, and we had to see if they communicate with each other with in the time that the reaction is good enough. And it's I would say it's in this 5G configuration compared to direct communication between cars. You have to be sure that every parts of the architecture do respond within the time they have to do. So you have geo servers, you have I would say kind of routers, and it's like a run. And you have to timestamp every packet and see where the delay is coming from. So what we are expecting from this project is to have a contribution to the standards in the future, to also moving the regulation and spectrum usage, bringing new business model. Security is also an important part. So there is a partner of in Luxembourg, SecConsult, which is very involved in the security. It's part of Atos now, which is specialized with IoT security. Dissemination outreach, and we are trying to align with 5G PPP goals and contribute to European 5G action plan. So here is a short sum up of the interaction we would like to have with a different standardization, working groups, also with the other 5G for CAM project like 5G Mobix and 5G Carmen. We communicate a lot with those projects to exchange. For instance, we get some information about modems when we want to debug them. So if you are interested, there is a public website from 5G Croco where nearly all information I have given today can be read into details. It's part of the dissemination work. And we have also interesting publication. Here I have given a link to, for instance, I3E publication, which has been submitted to the 5G Summit this year, and one paper in which we were working with had a reward, and I have a link with also with television. So I would like to thank you for your attention. Is there some questions?
Yes, we received some questions. One is from Ahmed Abdu. He's asking, what is the latency achieved so far, and what is the protocol for using the testing? What is the latency achieved so far, and what is the protocol used for the testing?
Okay, so the latency we usually had was under 10 milliseconds. So it was the latency on the network side. And we could have end-to-end for some application, because you have the application latency and you have the network latency. For some use cases, for instance, 30 milliseconds were enough. These were KPIs which has been defined at the beginning of the project to deal with the use cases we are presenting. And with the interest of 5G and CAM is that you can centralize some functions in GeoServer, in the Mac, and I mean the challenge was to meet, for instance, this end-to-end application latency, and it's different from, I would say, from use case to use case. And concerning the equipment we were using, we used, I would say, at the beginning it changed during the project. At the beginning of the project we had, for instance, in Munich, very big modems from Huawei, which were filling a trunk of a car, and with the development we could use pre-commercial modems, which were, I would say, like M2 interface, quite small, and we were using also normal embedded PC with Linux.
I think you answered the question.
Thank you.
Yes, that was it.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Is there any other questions? Yeah. If there are no other questions, my name is Christoph Jung. I'm working for Post Luxembourg. I was mainly involved in this project. And I like, especially as you heard, Luxembourg was really for the network the first one. We had maybe 1 year advanced to the others. And it's, maybe we got the right support in Luxembourg. So I like to say thank you to the ministries, to the Ministry of Environmental, that we get the authorizations for the ETM, the Pro-Chaussee, and all the ELR. It was the best support that we could get from the local governments and authorities to support this project.
Yes, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you for your support.
And even in very, I would say, bad time, because it was very difficult to travel, and everything went really good, no? And it was a great adventure so far, and it will continue. So.
Yeah. Looking forward to the results of the second trial round, which are today ongoing in Luxembourg, and we will demonstrate everything end of this month, even to the press, and we will demonstrate it to the commission, the EU Commission, to show what was the result of everything done in the full project.
And that's thanks to all the development done in Luxembourg.
Okay.
So,
How was it?
thank you very much.